Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to configure a second virtual disk array in your iDrac controller so then we can add some more space in our ESXi installation. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Alright, so right now I'm connected to my Dell R630. It's a 1U Dell server. I'm connected to it via iDrac. So I'm going to go ahead and power on the server, and this is all remotely because I actually am configuring the server in a data center, so I have to obviously do it remotely. So we went ahead and power on the server. Now we're going to get a prompt here shortly that's going to do Control R, which is going to get into our array configuration, or you can hit, I believe, F11 to get into the OS deployment area of the Dell configuration utility, and from there you can deploy an OS, configure a RAID. I like going into, here it is right here, Control R, which is getting into the RAID controller card, and that's where we can configure different RAIDs for our hard drives. So I like going into that interface because I'm just used to it. But like I said, you can go into the newer power deployment OS utility there. But like I said, which is the F10 actually, lifecycle controller is F10. But okay, so we're in our iDrac, right? So we can see we already have a data store of ESXi. So it's got 1 terabyte, and that's about 10 or 8 drives. Yep, 8 drives. So we just installed 8 more drives. So you can see we have about 15, 16 bays. So we're going to go ahead and configure these drives. So what we're going to do is go to unconfigured physical disk. If you don't see that, you just need to hover over that and just hit your over arrow key, and then you can see all your drives. Now, if you don't see any drives and you're like, I just installed some new drives, where are they? You might have to go to F2 for operations, and you might have to clear the foreign config. So like I said, if you only see 1 drive, maybe 2 drives, and you're like, where are all my drives? You need to go up to the park controller, hit F2, and go to foreign config. Now, foreign config is not highlighted because it's not detected any foreign config. But if there is a foreign config, you need to go in there and clear it, unless you're moving drives from another server or whatever. Be careful when you're doing this. Make sure they are new drives or old drives that you can reuse or repurpose, right? So what we're going to do here is go to create new VD, so virtual disk. So we're going to go into RAID level. We're going to go to RAID 10 because you get the performance of RAID 0 and RAID 5 for redundancy. So I like that because you can technically have up to 4 drives fail. Not saying, you know, you can, but like I said, you can typically have up to 4 drives fail because each 2 drives is in a RAID, right? But if you have 2 drives that fail in that one RAID, then you will lose data. So it's really only 1 or 2 drives you can have up to fail. So we'll go to RAID 10 here, go to and select all of the disk here, and I'm just doing the space bar to select all the drives. You can see we're ending up with 1.4 terabytes. Now, if I wanted to do a different type of RAID, like RAID 5 to get a little bit more storage, now keep in mind, RAID 5 is slower, but you still get the redundancy of 1 drive fail. I don't typically like doing it on so many drives because think about it, you got 8 drives, so you can only have 1 fail. That's not good chances, right? But look, now I got 2.5 terabytes of storage, up to 1 drive fail. But I'd rather have the speed and redundancy of RAID 10. And you can do RAID 6. RAID 6, you can do up to 2 drives fail. So let's see what that looks like. So we still get 2.1 terabytes. That's still pretty good. And you can have up to 2 drives fail on that array. But like I said, I need the performance of RAID 10. So we're going to RAID 10. We're going to select all those drives. And we get the 1.4 terabytes. And then I'll just name this ESXi store. If I can type today, store 2. So we'll hit OK. Now it's going to initialize all the drives. We want that to be done, so we'll hit OK. And then it should be initializing, and sometimes you have to force it. So we're going to go ahead and I believe we can hit F2, go to initialization, and we'll do fast initialization. So I like doing fast because if they're used drives, you want to do fast. If they're new, brand new out of the box drives, you can maybe do the regular one here, which is start. But I always find the fast is always working for me, so I just do fast. But like I said, you can do whatever you want. So we do fast. You can see it's already done. Boom. So once that's done and the initialization is done, so now we can go ahead and shut down our server and get out of the well, not really shut down, but exit the utility. Hit OK. Now it's going to ask us to do Control-Delete. So we're actually going to go up here and just do, since we're in iDrac, we're not at the physical server, right? And I don't really even have a keyboard and mouse, but we can actually probably do it through iDrac. So we're going to head and power off system. Yes. And then go ahead and power it back on. And like I said, you would be doing Control-Delete on your keyboard, of course, if you're physically doing this in front of the machine, right? So we're rebooting the server. We're going to let it boot up. We're not going to touch anything because we got those 2 arrays now. On the first array, we already have ESXi installed, so it's going to boot up to that. And then once it boots up into that, I'll log into the ESXi interface, and we'll go ahead and add that second data store there. So then we'll have 2 arrays of storage so that we can have more storage to put more VMs on, right? That's the whole point of this. All right, you can see it's initializing the array controller card, and you should see 2 virtual disk arrays here. Let's see it boot up, and it should show us that here shortly. Yep, there you have it, 2 virtual disks found. That's perfect because before it was only just 1. Now we have 2. Now it's going to do a quick reboot again. It's going to load in the lifecycle controller, all that jazz, and then it should find the ESXi bootable on the first array and boot up to that. And then we'll get into that interface. All right, now we're booted into ESXi, so we're going to let this load, and then we're going to go to our web interface now. All right, you guys, we are now back into our host. We logged in. Go to Storage, go to New Data Store. So we're going to click on that. We're going to select Create New VMFS Data Store. Click on Next. You're going to see our new array here. So we're going to just name this Data Store 2. Going to hit Next, and we're going to use the full disk. VMFS6 is what version we're going to want, and then click on Next and hit Finish. It was that pretty much easy. So now we have both arrays in here. We have our data store 1 and 2. So now we can go to our VMs. We can create more VMs now because we have more storage, right? So there you guys have it. Hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.